Hi everyone, so today we're looking at a very simple way to add snow effects to your Christmas card, and I don't mean glitter. Okay, so I had a class where I'd cut a load of die cut shapes and I was left with all these frames, so we decided to look at how we could use the frames. If you look carefully, you can see that there are snowdrifts around the deer, the stag. So that is the effect that we're looking at today. So that was what inspired today's tutorial. Here we have a square frame which I've added a couple of snow effects to. We've got a couple of Christmas trees and the stag lying down in the snow. So these are very simple techniques that you can use for so many things. Here's one with some rabbits and Father Christmas. He's sat right in the corner and the rabbits are behind the snow scene, and it's very easy to just slip things into the snowdrifts. Okay. Here we've got a simple one which I've added acetate to the front, and it's a much higher snowdrift because he's a snowman and he's been playing in the snow. Okay, so first of all we're going to look, I've got all sorts of decoupage pictures here, but we're going excuse me, to use a Christmassy scene in a minute. But what I just want to show you is the start of the effects that you can get. So we're just looking at dead plain stuff before we add any extras. So I have a piece of backing paper, and it's just a simple snow scene I've printed. I've got my frame on the top, and I've got a darker colour which would be the background before I place it on my card. So already it's a nice scene. So what I tend to use is a stiff card, and when you tear it, it has a lovely tear effect across it. So let's have a look. If I tear that there, right, I know that's going to fit my card. So the first one I'm going to do is a simple wavy effect. So I'm just coming through, and you can see I've now got two pieces. If I flip that round, I can now layer those up, and we've already got a background snowdrift and a foreground snowdrift. You can play around with all sorts of positioning, but let's just put that behind our scene, and now we've got a magical snow scene. Okay, what if we want to add some mountains? Okay, let's take those out. Okay, so instead of doing a nice smooth curve, what if I do a much rougher curve with some peaks in it? Right, let's have a look. I'm just going to put a little bit of glue there. Save it, keep moving. And it's easier to show, that's better, easier to show you. So we've got some peaks. So what if we put the peaks up high? Then what if we put, this one goes up, it's a nice snowdrift. And there. Let's put the frame on. Now if you have a look, we've got mountains in the background and some lovely snowdrifts in the foreground. So without any decoration at all, we've got a nice card coming together. Okay, so those are just a few ideas you can play around with. When I've taken this piece, I did have another piece left. So let's have a look. What if we had mountains? We now have another set of mountains. Let's bring it up so that it just goes over the troughs there. Okay, let's put, that's the one with the dome bit. Let's put the next one on, and the next one, put the frame across so you can see the effect. There, so now we've got two mountain ranges. You can adjust them until you're happy with how they look. I think I'd like to bring that down a bit. Right. And then you're left with a snow scene. So let me just have a look. I've got the spare snowman from one of my other cards. Let's just drop him in there, and now the scene suddenly starts to come to life. But when you look at this, it's a beautiful card to even start with. Okay, so we're going to put that to one side and build a card. So I have a background piece of navy. I have a starry sky that I've done. I've got my base card. I've got a circular frame this time, so that's going to go on that way. I've got a piece of acetate, and this was a simple square, it is the same. So I've cut around the skyline just roughly, and then when I put it onto there, it blends in to the background. Okay, so let's have a look what we do first. So here is my frame. First thing I like to do is to cover my card. So I'm going edge to edge with this one. So I'm going to place that one there. I'm going to hot glue down the edge, and I'm just going to line it up so I've covered that edge of my card. I've got a slight white border, so I'm going to turn that round and it will go that way. Always be prepared to adjust your card. So, there we go. So I've fitted that to the bottom edge. Right. Now I'm using hot glue because it's quick. You can use double-sided tape, and I'm just going around doing every edge of my card. Okay. Turn it over, and now I can take my craft knife, and using the card as a template, I can cut around anything that shows. Now, I don't tend to keep dark coloured card in the workshop. I use white or cream most of the time, and I can easily make myself a dark card if I want one. Okay, inside it's still white, so I've got plenty of room to write without any problem. Okay, so we've done a dark card from white. Now I'm going to take this. Now you'll see I've got white bits around the outside. I'm not bothered about that at all. I'm going to place that onto there, and I'm just going to put a dab of glue in the top left corner. Right. All I want to do is to hold it in position. We're going to cut off all the excess in a minute. So there's my picture. I can now take my main picture and I can place it on there. Now I can hear you saying there was probably no snow in Bethlehem, so we're going to go with our snow effect, because I actually wanted the nativity picture. So I can move that up, down to get my skyline exactly where I want it. So once I've got that sorted, I can just take my glue, place a little bit behind to hold it in place while I'm working. Okay, it's fixed, it's beautiful. Right, now we come to do our snow effect. Now I'm obviously not going to need snow coming across the background, although I could do mountains, but I'm not going to. I want snow roughly to come halfway there. So I'm going to rip that in half, because that's all the piece I need to do. And I'm going to just gently curve there. Right, so I've got one there, I've got one there. This is going up the highest, so I'm going to take that and slide it, because I want it to come up between the characters. Right, okay, so I know I've covered the characters, but I've got the decoupage here to go over it. So let's put glue behind that. So there's my first layer of snow. Right. This then allows me to come in with my characters, and suddenly I've got my characters back, but now they've got snow behind them. Okay, so I'm going to take the characters, lay those on there, and just get them exactly where I want them. Okay. Now I'm going to take this piece, which was our lower one, and I'm going to place that there, and it's just going to come into the bottom of the scene there. So I can hold that in place. Place that on there. Now I've got my couple of main characters, which I can put on there. Now, whether we have the dog coming onto the frame or inside, doesn't matter. I'm going to put him inside at the moment, because I want to see clearly the bottom of their outfits. Okay, here's the snow coming in. We've got snowy background. And there we have our little characters. So, can you see how we've woven in the snow? I think I have another rabbit on there. There we go. And I have a little dog. So now I can decide whether I want the little dog to be outside. And that's quite cute. So let's have I love hot glue for decoupage because I can mould it. I can get my characters to be angled so he can have his little nose stuck up in the air a bit. And that one, I can even make it two little rabbits looking. I think I'm just going to leave it with the dog. Right, now I'm happy with my arrangement. I can come in and I can really glue it down well. So if you remember, we just started with a tiny bit of glue in that side. Right, there we go. So I could have placed a piece of acetate inside, but I'm going without because I like the matte finish. Okay, so what we do now is to take a ruler and I cut off any excess that is hanging over. So you may have to go through several layers of card where you've added snow. I think I'll go with scissors. And I can angle my scissors in so it just chamfers the edge a little away from the card. If you're trying to stick something down accurately, it actually becomes a worry. So always do oversize and then cut the excess off. There we go. Right. So one of my ladies is always worried because she thinks I'm throwing stuff on the floor. I have a bag on the side of my table. Yes, I've had comments that why do you throw all your bits on the floor? Now, I've got my card covered, I've got that, and it's nice as it is, but I think I would like to add the smallest amount of gold all the way round. So I have a piece of gold. This is quite a weighty card now because we've put quite a few layers on. So I'm doing the smallest border on two edges. I'm going to bring in my ruler. And I've got the smallest of gold borders. It's better. Let's just trim it on a fraction. And that's going to go onto there. A few seconds where you can adjust it. There. So we have now beautiful snow effects and the characters are situated in the snowdrift. Let's go back and take a quick look through. Here we have a much higher snowdrift and a lower one, And there's our snowman in between. This one, we've actually got 3 layers of the snowdrift, but you only see a tiny bit of the background. Then there's one in the middle and one here. This is a beautiful effect where you tear your card. Okay. Here we have 2. And this was the original one that we did, where we've got a little bit in the background. The tree covers most of it, but it still adds to the effect. And then this lower drift. So do have a go at using whatever you have and see what you can do, just adding simple effects. We've dealt with snow, but it could easily be a green piece of card that you rip for hills. It could be a white piece of card that you tear in very small bits. Like that. And start making waves with little boats in between the waves. There are so many things, but do pick up a bit of card, bit of scrap card, tear it along and see what ideas you can make from a simple torn piece of card. Enjoy. God bless you all.